welcome to the simplicity of happiness when more is too much. This podcast offers tips and techniques for a better life.
And before we start with another episode of the Simplicity of Happiness podcast, I would like to remind you that you can find out all about me and my thoughts on simplicityofhappiness.com, as well as Patreon, where I am providing extra content for all of you who support me and the education of children in Africa. And now relax and enjoy the show. Hello and welcome back to finally another episode of the Simplicity of Happiness podcast. Today, again, well, you can see nobody else when you are watching this on YouTube, a solo episode just with me. And I thought I'm taking this time to give you a little overview on the last, probably half year, because I stopped recording new episodes at some time in the summer when I was finally on the sailboat again. And this was an especially shaky summer. Somehow there was always wind coming from several directions at once. It sometimes felt so. At least it was changing throughout the day. And it was really difficult to find a quiet spot for working, and especially for recording anything audio, because my boat is so loud when there are some waves around. And then I decided, well, this is fine. I'll just record a whole bunch of new episodes when it is about time, because I can. And some other things happened throughout the summer where I thought, well, maybe I should talk about that you can as well if you want to. And I'm giving you examples out of my life where I took decisions, especially in the last half year, just because I can. And my question that I want you to keep in mind after we hang up from our conversation today is, what is it that you do just because you can? And what is it that you could do just because you can? When we are not imprisoned or enslaved, then, well, there might be obstacles in life. There might be overall situations that force us in circumstances, in situations where we have to take decisions that we wouldn't take without. Nevertheless, there are options. And nevertheless, there's always a possibility to behave the one way or the other way. For example, if you are, a politician at the moment, an elected politician in a fair and free election, you still have to deal with the corona issue. Whatever you think of that, but it's a fact that it's there, and now you have to take decisions. And then one can argue whether you like the decisions or you don't, but the overall situation is something that, it helps to be accepted. What helps for taking the decision is when you become clear who you want to be. Who am I? Who do I want to be, and who do I want to have been? That is very often the most interesting question. Because you can always think about, I am the way I am, can't change it. Well, obviously you can. You can always aspire to be somebody, but don't take actions toward that. But when you say very clearly, one day I'm leaving a relationship, a partnership, or life altogether, Who do I want to be or what do I want to be remembered for? Who do I want to be remembered as? Because that is something that you have to create now in order to look on that in the rear view. So what is it that you want to be remembered for once you are departing from people for whatever reason? If people who meet you now, or will meet you tomorrow, what do you want them to think about when they remember you? And when you're clear about that, then it is very often easier or altogether easy to take a decision. I want to be remembered as a person who created possibilities. I want to widen my horizon, and I want to help other people to open their horizon. I want to create flexibility. Well, I have a certain set of beliefs that I want to go by, yet I know I could behave different. So I want to have more options. I want to create options. I want to see the world, and most of all, my world. So the way that I see the world, I want to see it from different angles, and I want to help others to see them from different angles as well. And for me, it helps to travel the world, to not stay at the same place forever. At least not yet. I'm not sure if I might settle when I'm 90. But for now, not. For now, there's so much for me to still be explored around the world that I want to keep moving. And therefore, I need a certain set of feeling home, like it was the case when I was traveling with the camper van, Emma. We could take our home with us, and it is sort of the same when I'm on my tiny wooden boat. I figured out it's a bit too small to full-time live on and work on there, so I'm going back and forth at the moment. But this is something that I can imagine for the future very well, that I'm taking all the belongings that are important to me with me, and that I keep shifting so that I am always able to have an outside view on my own life, so that I can look on what I did yesterday and maybe even look from the outside on what I'm doing now, because I'm not used to this now. Therefore, I spent the whole summer on the boat, fixing boat, working on boats, living at anchor again, to create some more experience for that. And I want to be known for a person who always offers a helping hand. I'm not letting you out of your responsibility or anything like this. I'm not cleaning up your shit. Excuse me. But when you need help, or when people around me need help, I always want to help. And a situation occurred where a friend of mine in Africa, a personal friend and a person that I'm working with, all of a sudden lost his wife this summer. She gave birth to a son, and 14 days later, due to complications, she passed away. And well, this is a tragedy by itself. But if you look at that young family working in the hospitality service, so he is one of the best guides in Africa I ever met. And personally, the best guide I ever met in Tanzania. So he created a good business for himself, but he's out of business for, well, now almost 2 years. Like all my friends and business partners that are working with me on these travel experiences in Africa. So I knew that he was financially, well, not well off. He never complained, and that is something that I admired and still admire. Whenever I call him, like, how are you doing? His answer is, oh, brother, life is good. You know, I'm healthy, family is healthy, life is good. It didn't matter how much he struggled. And all of a sudden he lost that one thing that he was always holding on to, or that one relationship, part of his family and his loved wife. And they don't have any kind of social security system in Tanzania. So I thought, well, I have to help him, but what does it help if I'm sending him $100? It's a nice gesture. And then I thought, well, I have this children help fund, this education association, kids. And I talked to the other board members and said, well, is it covered if we are helping basically a newborn into life, to make it financially stable, to make the situation financially stable? And then I asked my newsletter subscribers to send donations to kids. And I really hate asking for money. I want to work with people who want to work with me because I'm offering something that they want. I want to help people, and if I'm charging them, then, well, that's fair enough. But therefore, they need to want something from me. And now I'm begging in my newsletter. And, well, I gave that whole story like I told it to you now. I presented in the newsletter, and I said, well, this is the situation, and, well, I would like to help him. I would like to cover all the expenses that he has, that he can, well, concentrate on mourning and getting his life back together, helping his children. And overnight, people that sometimes I don't know, mostly they don't know him at all, were sending money, and we could cover all the expenses that he had in that moment, and even take care for the first month of the newborn child. And I was afraid to ask for the money, and I felt very sorry for my friend. But when my phone kept ringing because there were donations coming in through PayPal, where people gave some or many dollars for a person they don't know, that touched me so much that sometimes I had tears in my eyes when I was looking at my phone, because I could not believe that, well, somebody on the other side of the world is helped just because I put words into an email and people are responding to that. And I had no obligation for that, and I have no win. There's no money in it for me. It was a lot of work, actually, to put all that together. And some days I was struggling with it, but in the end I realized I did this because I could. Because that's the one I want to be. Because that's the one that I want to be remembered for. And therefore, it was an easy decision. So talking about all of that, talking about kids. Well, if there's a situation coming up for you, some gift giving season or a birthday, where you realize, well, you have basically everything that you need, and the gifts are a gesture. Maybe ask for donations in your name. And if you want to support kids and support the education of children in East Africa, well, reach out to me. I'd be happy to give you a hand for that. But if not, it's also fine if that's the way you want to be. What is it that you can do just because you can? Well, having asked this, I will leave you with that for today. Thank you for listening. If you want to check out Kids, it's just K-I-D-Z. So kids with Z.org. And if there is anything that I can help you with, well, go to simplicityofhappiness.com and click the appropriate button. You will find the contact formula. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing fine, and well, I'll talk to you next time.